Hi, how are you? This is Trudy Ross. This is a video just to help beginners understand and know how to use emotional freedom techniques, otherwise known as tapping. It's a really amazing resource to help you cope when you get a negative emotions or energies that build up to you or in you when you're going through a really difficult time or a challenging period, especially through COVID-19 pandemic, and also when you're in a lockdown and there's a lot of uncertainty and things escalate really quickly. Believe it or not, EFT tapping is actually a really simple technique that is actually quite effective and can have really immediate results in helping you release bad feelings. And I just also wanted to say that it is really okay to actually feel or have negative thoughts and emotions. It is a normal part of life, but it doesn't really serve our health. And this particular technique is really amazing at helping you regulate that and at times collapse it. The beauty about EFT tapping is it is a self-help technique, so you can work on yourself and get really great relief when you're experiencing a bad event or a negative emotion or just can't get past something. However, I really need to emphasize that if you really are struggling or you really want to work on some deeper stuff, it is highly recommended that you reach out to a clinically trained EFT practitioner like myself, because we do much deeper work one-on-one, and we're trained in many beautiful techniques to keep you safe while you're really letting go of some of the negative things that we can experience. However, for the purpose of this video is to show you the technique, why we use it, and give you an example so you can get some shifts on your own. What is emotional freedom techniques or tapping? It is a combination of ancient Chinese medicine and modern day talk therapy. Ancient Chinese medicine have always had the philosophy that if your energy systems are really blocked, you don't have the best health. And for many centuries, they have been healing people through what they call the meridian systems. So, what we do with tapping, you've probably heard, or the most common one, which is acupuncture. What we do with tapping is simply acupuncture without the needles. We tap on the face and the upper body on very specific meridian spots that actually send electromagnetic waves back to your brain and to your nervous system to calm it down and regulate it when you're having a stress response. The talk therapy side of it is simply that, talking, verbalizing the negative or the bad emotion or what you're experiencing, which is connected to your body, and what we tap as we talk. I'm not sure if you've ever had an experience where you have got a little bit stressed or had a bit of a freak out response or frustrated and you're thinking, I can't think straight. Basically, what's really happening is we have a really cool little part of our brain called the amygdala, which is known really as our fight and flight response. Quite often when we get into a heightened state of stress, everything in our frontal cortex or our modern brain where we think straight, or which is our cognitive thinking, the blood rushes back to that part of our brain, and what happens is it starts to throw out this really cool little hormone called cortisol, and that kind of floods our body, and it's not really the best for our health or our immune system. So the beautiful thing with tapping, if we're having a stress response, we just start tapping on these really specific points. We acknowledge what we're feeling and where in the body, and quite often it sends calming waves back to our amygdala to calm it down, and it gives us quite often instant relief. And so what that does is it calms the nervous system down, it holds back the cortisol, and it's better for our health and ultimately our immune system. I think it's really important to also acknowledge that we do focus on negative, which is actually really refreshing. I know there's a lot of gratitude and positive thinking and thought patterns that everyone is encouraged to do, and that is absolutely essential and amazing. But I think this technique also allows us to really honor the negative and actually remove it from where we've stored it in our bodies to get rid of it. And that's the power of it. Quite often with EFT, we do what we call exposure therapy with positive reframe. We talk about the negative and we do a positive reframe or a cognitive reframe where we allow ourselves to accept how we're feeling in the moment. So that's the power behind this beautiful technique. So how do we do this? First step is to recognize the emotion that you're feeling. And that can be whatever is coming up for you. So it can be nerves, it can be frustration, anger, sadness, fear, procrastination, not feeling motivated. There's so many things that you can use tapping for, but for the purpose of this video, I'm just going to go on the basic emotions that you might feel so you can understand to do it on a basic level and release it. So one, try and figure out what emotion you're feeling. If you've got emotions coming up or you're feeling completely overwhelmed, that can bring an umbrella for a lot of them. So just tap on the overwhelm and see what comes up as the strongest and just work on them one by one if you want. Number two, where in your body are you feeling the emotion? Quite often, whilst we go, oh, I'm angry and we know what's going on, quite often it's harbored in our body somewhere. And again, that is unique to you. Is it in your head, your eyes, your face, your cheeks, your chest, your stomach, your solar plexus, even your legs? It doesn't really matter. If you're not sure, you can tune into it and sometimes it appears. Number three, what is your intensity? It's just a gauge. So when you are tapping, you can understand whether you're releasing any of the intensity. 10 being the absolute worst, 0 having collapsed it. Also, too, if you are fairly visual, not everybody is, when you figure out where it is in your body, if you can give it a shape or a color, it just allows your body to give you a metaphor, because quite often when you tap, the shape and the color can change as parts of the body, but it's just another gauge to help you release where you're holding these negative energies in your body. The tapping points, the important bit. I'm going to show you the really basic recipe as we refer to it in EFT tapping, just so you can follow those and just use it to help you give some relief. It's a great coping mechanism. The first point is what we call the side of the hand point. We start tapping here. It's where we do a setup statement. This is where we do the exposure therapy, where we state the problem, and then we give it a cognitive reframe where we accept how we feel. For the purpose of this video, I'm going to just talk or just pretend I've got frustration. So I would go, even though I have this frustration, and we would start there. But I'm just starting with a tapping point. This is our starting point. The next tapping point is what we call top of the head tapping point. It's just right on the top of your head. This connects all the meridians and it's a really fabulous spot. The next spot is the inside of the eye or the end of your eyebrow. You can tap with two hands or one hand. If you don't feel comfortable tapping in your face, especially in COVID, you can even pretend to just put the energy through. There are other points on your hands and arms, and I'll show you those, but just for the purpose of this, the inside of the eye. Now the side of the eye point, if you can imagine, just right at the side where the bone is, you just tap there. That's another meridian point. Under the eye point. Just tap right in the middle of the eye and on the bone. That's under the eye point. Under the nose point. And I'm getting a release as I'm doing this. I love it. Under your lip, just really just in the middle of your jaw. We've got the collarbone point. Now, where your collarbone starts here, if you can imagine a slight diagonal about an inch, you got 2 points here. So you can tap one, tap both, or you can cup it and just tap there. I love this point. Then we've got side of the arm point. It's about 4 inches down to where a bra line is for anyone that wears a bra. So that's the basic recipe. So I'll just do another round. Top of the head, inside eye, side of the eye, under the eye, under the nose, under the mouth, chest, under the arms. Now, I know you're probably thinking at this point, this is wacky. I call it the wacky tap, but it absolutely works. I've been doing this for about 10 years and it's been absolutely transformative. So I couldn't recommend it high enough. Hence why I've trained as an EFT practitioner. So what I'd like to point out, when you do tap, because we're connecting with our emotion and where it is in our body, the idea is to emotionally release it. So you're going to get physical releases. So I just want to give you an idea of what that can be. They can be sighs. They can be yawns. Yawns are amazing. They feel great. You can have little coughs. You can almost giggle or laugh. Sometimes you might burp. Some people might fart. It actually happens, and let it rip because you're letting it go. You can cry. quite often that's a really normal thing. That's totally okay. I would suggest just keep tapping through the tears because it just lets it out. Just be very, very careful that if you get into real flooding and crying, you might have gone too deep into the emotion, and the option is to keep you safe. So if that happens, I really just want you to keep your eyes really open, just keep tapping and get really present, and just look around the room and see what's there, like what's in front of you. If you see curtains, a window or anything, just keep yourself really present and keep tapping, and eventually the emotion will subside. So now I'm going to do an example round of general tapping that may help you just reduce some intensity. Again, like I said, if you're finding it difficult to really collapse things, absolutely reach out to a clinically trained EFT. We've got amazing techniques that can safely guide you through a lot of stuff, and it's really amazing once you release it. The beautiful thing about this technique too, whilst it feels a bit weird initially to be acknowledging negativity, the tapping, as you understand and how you realize it helps you release these bad emotions and feelings from your body, you actually gain confidence knowing that there's this incredible tool that can just help you get by. Yeah? So for the purpose of this exercise, I'm going to just concentrate on one emotion. So mine, number one, is what the emotion that you're feeling, or what's the most or the strongest one for you at the point, because sometimes you can be experiencing a lot. Mine is frustration. Where am I feeling it at this point? For the sake of this example, I'm feeling it in my throat. A lot of emotions can be held in people's throats, so quite often that can be common, but if it's not for you, again, doesn't matter. But mine's in my throat, and it's like a disc shutting it off. Yeah? My intensity out of 10 at this point is probably about a 6. That's my starting point. So what we do is we do a setup statement and we repeat it 3 times. Even though I feel this frustration in my throat, I completely accept myself and how I feel. Even though I have this frustration, it's like a silver disc cutting my throat off. I'm completely safe right here and right now to feel this. Even though I have this frustration in my throat, I deeply and completely accept myself. Then we do the reminder phrase. We do the tapping sequence. This frustration, on top of the head, inside eye, this frustration, side of the eye, this frustration. This frustration in my throat. This frustration in my throat. This silver disc blocking my throat. This silver disc blocking my throat. This frustration. I just did a little bit of a burp. When you do one round, take a deep breath. It's always great to have water right near you, because the beauty of this is it's great to keep hydrated and it can help you do some more releasing. This is an opportunity just to tune in and gauge where you were. Now, I had some release then, so I've gone down to about a 4, and I can even feel my throat. I don't know if you can hear it. It actually feels a lot less tense. So sometimes don't be concerned if your intensity goes up. You've just tuned in to what you're really feeling, and it's an opportunity to just have a new starting point and just keep tapping. Yeah? So then we just try and collapse it. The idea is to get it to a 2 or 0. Also, if you've got a shape and a color, it may change. So my disc, if I'm to think about it, really looked like an old CD disc. It's got a lot smaller and the color has slightly changed. Your color might completely change, or it might move somewhere different in your body. Just follow it. It's completely okay. Just, you might have gone, oh, it's in my throat. Well, it's kind of come in my shoulders. It might feel a bit weird, but it's just your body going, oh yeah, let's get rid of this. So the second round is just an extra release phase. So we start at the side points. I'm about to fall, even though I have this remaining frustration in my throat. I deeply and completely accept myself. Even though I have this remaining frustration in my throat, I completely accept myself and how I feel. Even though I have this remaining frustration, I'm going to give my body permission to completely release this and give me peace, because I accept myself and how I feel. This remaining frustration, this remaining frustration, this remaining frustration, this remaining frustration in my throat, this remaining frustration in my throat, this remaining frustration, giving my body permission to let this go. Giving my body permission to let this go. This remaining frustration. You can keep going on rounds if you want. Absolutely keep going if you don't feel like you're finished. Also, too, feel free to riff. Feel free to say what's frustrating you. The more you get out, the better it is. Oh my God. I can't get all my work done. I'm so frustrated. I don't have any time in the day. I'm frustrated. I'm frustrated at people. I'm frustrated at the government. I'm frustrated at what's going on with the world. Why can't we get answers? Why does this keep happening? I'm so frustrated. Just really tune in. It is totally okay to use words because it's more powerful what comes out of your mouth and what's true to you. And you just keep tapping. And then you just take another deep breath and you check in. And if your intensity goes down, it's also good to give yourself a bit of peace. And once you get the intensity down, nothing's wrong with having a little bit of a wrap up session where you just go, even though I've worked on this emotion right here and now, and I feel much better. I'm proud that I've given my body some peace in this moment. And I will choose to continue working on any other emotion that comes up using this wacky tap when I get the opportunity, because I accept myself and how I feel. Even though my body's experienced this really bad emotion right now, I've given it the opportunity to release it. And I'm just letting it go. And I'm feeling much better. And I'm choosing to give my body peace right now. I'm choosing to feel much better. And I'm choosing just to sit with this for the moment so I can just get on with the rest of my day. So many different things can come up. But I now have this really interesting technique that I can use just to make myself feel better. It's kind of a bit different, but it works. And I'm also safe in the knowledge that 1 million people plus around the world are starting to use this technique all the time. You don't actually have to say that. I'm just telling you this. Anyway, that is really just a basic example on how you can do a couple of quick rounds on some general emotions that you're feeling. So just to wrap up, that is a very basic introduction and explanation to emotional freedom techniques and tapping, just to help you as well, to just show you some other points. We do have some on our hands, on our fingers, and these different points. Again, the side hand point, there's a beautiful point here, which is the gamut point, or there's a point here. So if you're not comfortable at this point during a COVID pandemic and touching your face with your hands, there are other points that you can use that still have a really good effect. And you can use the body points as well. So you can tap here, tap here, tap here. Like I said, this is really just a basic general way of using it. It's a really good little coping technique. It will help you collapse some emotions, but like I said, it is really important to reach out to a clinically trained EFT practitioner because, again, we've got incredible techniques to keep you safe, but really help you collapse intensities. And we work on a complete sensory level where we see, feel, touch, hear, taste, absolutely everything, and we dive into specific events that are specific to you. And there's so much more to this particular modality, but for the purpose of today, I hope it helps you. Give it a go and see how you feel. And if you're surprised by just feeling a little bit better, that's outstanding because we all deserve to feel good through challenging times. Thank you so much.